Scott made a request for some recordings, people talking about their dads, for this Leaves, Branches, and Trunks song he's going to release, I think Father's Day. So I said, well, my dad was pretty good, so I'll give it a shot. Now I've got one of those faces that's kind of made for radio, so I'm doing it a little bit different maybe than some of the others may have. Anyway, my dad's name was Boyd Leo Baxter. He was born October 13th, 1935 in Lee Forest, Texas, youngest of 7 children. He was a PK, a preacher's kid. They lived in Pampa and Keys, Oklahoma, and he graduated from Hooker, Oklahoma. Dad didn't much care for school, but he sure did like building things in the shop class. He built an entire bedroom suite. It's still in our family. It's kind of scattered around, I think, between a few of us, but it's still there. He met my mom one Sunday morning at church in Guymon, Oklahoma. Said he fell in love immediately when he saw her walking up the steps. Asked her that very day if he could take her home. They got married a little while later on November 26, 1954. And before they left for their honeymoon, so to speak, to the motel room, they had a big caravan, Dad wheeling Mom down Main Street. It's a red brick Main Street in Guymon, Oklahoma. Wheeled her down Main Street in a wheelbarrow that somebody had gotten. Then they hopped in his 49 Mercury and took off to spend the night in the motel room. They didn't make it. The car broke down. Dad's folks had to come rescue him, and offered to let them spend the night there at their place. But it's their wedding night. I don't think Dad nor Mom neither wanted to do that, so they didn't. So I was born first. Mom and Dad moved a couple of places, not too much. Lubbock, Amarillo, and I was born in Lubbock, Texas, in 1956. And he looks a little bit surprised there, holding me up in that picture. My sister was born in Pampa, Texas, in '58. And then we did a little stint, I guess, in Beaver, Oklahoma, is where I went to kindergarten. And then we moved to Guymon, Oklahoma, which is where my brother was born in '65. I think Dad did a lot of frame and carpenter framework and cabinet work. That's mostly what he did during those years, till he moved to Guymon in '62. And with a loan from one of my mom's kinfolk, they bought a business, Bruce and Son Moving and Storage Company. And that's what he was doing when I graduated from high school, and even a few years after that. Hard work, moving furniture, from one place to another, household goods and stuff. I worked a lot with him during growing up. After my senior year, I told him, I said, I'm going to work for you the whole summer. I don't want any pay, because they're going to send me off to a Bible college that I knew wasn't going to be very cheap. So that's what we did. But I did work. Just growing up, I would help him when I could. It's hard work. He did that, like I say, all of my life in Guymon, in a few years even after I graduated. All the time I spent with him, I never heard that man say a single cuss word. Never heard him any type of profane talking at all. He was a God-fearing Christian. Loved the Lord. Loved to talk about him. Loved to practical jokes. He loved to tell jokes. He had the same old jokes pretty much all the time. That was a good thing for him in the business he was in. He got to meet new people all the time, so he could keep telling the same jokes. He couldn't stand the sight of blood. I remember one time I was helping him. Well, I was young. I really wasn't helping him. I was kind of playing around. Ended up busting my back of my head open. We went and had to go to the doctor. He almost passed out. He couldn't stand the sight of blood. Doctor said, Mr. Baxter, you probably ought to go ahead and leave this room while I stitch your son up. So he did. I graduated, and sister graduated. Brad graduated, my little brother. They moved to Hydro. That's where Brad graduated from, Hydro, Oklahoma. And then after he graduated, they moved out to Arizona, and he did some construction work out there, road construction work with my mother's brother. Then they moved to Oklahoma City for a little bit, not where I was living. I was a firefighter in Oklahoma City. Then they moved on out to Lely Lake, where he retired. During that time, Dad worked at a gasohol plant in Hydro, Oklahoma. And from then, he was mostly a truck driver. He and Mom drove with Swift, and I think one other company. Dad he just loved driving trucks, and he wanted Mom to be with him as much as she could. She got hurt on one of the deals, and she had to quit. He finally retired, and they moved to a little town called Lydia Lake outside of Clarendon, Texas, about an hour southeast of Amarillo. Dad loved his family, his kids, his grandkids, even some great grandkids. Like I said, he's always cutting up and making folks laugh. Clarendon, he helped build the church, the Assembly of God church there in the fellowship hall. And they would have different folks come in RVs and be traveling around and doing helping build churches. That's what they did, and Dad was helping each one of them. So again, he was in hog heaven because he was able to tell his same old jokes to different folks. They'd come in, every week or so, a new group would come in, or a new couple or whatever would come in to help with the building, depending on what stage they were in. And so he was able to tell them some more jokes, same jokes to him, but new to them. Mom always talked about how he always had the greatest cards, for special occasions. He's always, birthdays and anniversaries and things like that. So he enjoyed that. Like I said, he cared greatly for his family. That was the number one thing to him. I made something for Mom. Doing my own little bit of woodworking, and I remember when Mom opened it up I think it was a Christmas present, if I remember right. And Dad looked at it, and almost tears in his eyes. He said, "Son," he said, "in all the years I did woodworking," he said, "I never made anything this pretty." That made me feel pretty special. Just a little bit before he died, I think the summer before he died, I was there, and we was out in his shop, and we were just kind of shooting the breeze, and he just looked at me and said, "Son, I want to apologize to you." I said, "For what?" He said, "I spanked you a whole lot when you was growing up." He said, "I shouldn't have done that." He said, "I apologize for that." I looked at him, I said, "Dad, you spanked me and Brenda both pretty good, and Brad didn't get quite near the spankings." But I said, "Do you think any of your three kids turn out evil? They're all pretty good kids. I think they grew up to be pretty decent human beings. I don't think you need to apologize for that. You did what you thought was needed. And I can't think of a single spanking I ever got that I didn't deserve at least some form." Now in ninth grade, I think it was last time he spanked me, and I didn't cry a bit. And afterwards, I just turned around, sat down on the bed, and he looked at me and said, "Well, I guess we're gonna have to find a different way to start disciplining you, but that ain't gonna work no more." That was another thing, another moment that I got to spend with him. So he died May 6th of 09. That was the last time I saw him was around Christmas time of 08, I think. He died the next May, unexpectedly and suddenly. And most of us are pretty crushed about that. I mean, don't know what it was for sure. We didn't have an autopsy done. based on the conversations I had with the medical professionals, that some type of aneurysm probably in his heart or lungs. But I think that's about all I can say about that man. I love my daddy. He was, like I said, a strong Christian man. He loved the Lord, and he spent his whole life serving the Lord. And I just hope to be able to even do a portion of what that man did for the Lord. And I cannot wait. I truly look forward to seeing him and so many other loved ones when I trade this old body for a new glorified one. God bless you. Thanks, Scott, for letting me share this. We'll see you later.